Hi everyone, hope you're all well. Thank you for watching, subscribing. My Facebook page is booming, so I just want to say thank you to everyone that's inviting their friends, sharing, etc. There's something I want to talk about today which has been brought up. It's miscarriage and infant loss. Someone's come to me and said that obviously this is something that's triggered their depression and anxiety, so I just want to share my experience with you. Obviously I'm here to help and to try and understand, but when it comes to things that I've actually been through, that many other women go through, I think it's good to talk about as well. So I'm just going to jump straight in with my story. It was August 2012 I found out I was pregnant, missed period, so it's an obvious sign. Went to the GP. I had 2 previous miscarriages to that, so obviously they were looking at me and classing me as a high-risk pregnancy. Got a early scan date, but everything was fine. My temperature was fine, blood pressure was fine, you know, everything they checked was fine. It wasn't really the right time. It came as a shock to everybody, to me, my partner. It wasn't really the right time. I was living at a friend's house and my partner was still living at home, so we wasn't set up for it at all. But then people can prep all they want for pregnancy, baby, parenting, and you know, you can never be too prepared for it. So I think it was a few days before my scan date I started bleeding. Everyone says, you know, you Google stuff, don't you, and spotting in early pregnancy, and they say it's normal. So I went to the hospital and was told that they couldn't do anything, obviously, because it was so early, just to wait and see for my scan, which I think it was 3 days. I had to wait 3 days. So got sent home and the bleeding was on and off. Wasn't heavy, but was on and off. Came to my scan day and my friend drove me to the hospital. It was really bad because the traffic was horrendous and I was panicking already, and that just made it 10 times worse. Got to the hospital, checked in, and was in the waiting room with my friend. And something, I don't know if people believe in fate, spirits, signs, you know, but I'm a bit of a believer in all that. And something happened that made me sit back and think that something wasn't quite right. And it was a song come on in the hospital waiting room that was a song that was played at my granddad's funeral. And I just looked at my mate and I was like, something's not right. Like, you know, this isn't right. And that's when I actually got called in. They called my name, went into the scan room. Obviously, my friend's clutching my hand. I'm holding her hand. I'm shaking. I'm sweating. And I had never been for a scan before, so I didn't know how long it would take for them to look around to find a heartbeat, etc., etc. And I think I was laying on there for about 3 or 4 minutes, you know, which actually felt like a lifetime, to be told by the nurse that was scanning me that I had had a miscarriage. Them words are the worst words you could possibly hear laying on a bed while they're scanning your stomach. What had happened was the sac was there. And obviously there was a little baby fetus. I say baby because at the end of the day they are humans, they've got a heartbeat, etc. But some people don't like to use the term baby, but that's what I'm going to use. But there was no heartbeat. My whole world just crumbled around me. I was in denial at first. I was like, no, get a second opinion, bring someone else in here. I was shouting at my friend, God bless her, because she was amazing. I was screaming, get me someone else. And then they say, oh, go wait in the waiting room. We need to refer you to another ward. I can't remember what it was called now. Obviously, we're 6 years down the line, 7 years down the line, 8 years down the line, near enough. So they sit you outside, and like, it's an everyday job for them, you know, that they can see this every day. And you've just been told that, in theory, you're no longer going to be a mum. So I was moved to this ward, And I just remember looking around, and it wasn't even people that had just been through what I'd been through, not that I saw anyway. And then you have to make the phone calls because everyone's waiting. And I think the only person I called was my mum. And my friend obviously called my work and everything else, because obviously this wasn't going to just be a straightforward thing, because the baby was still there. There was just no heartbeat. It turned out I was 9 weeks and 4 days, which was heartbreaking again, because obviously you're seeing just a sack with this tiny little kind of baby shaped body in it. Then I get called into a room in the ward that I've been referred to, and basically I'm given the option to take pills to force a miscarriage. I don't know if that's the right word, so just bear with me. Or surgery. I went for the pills. I didn't want surgery. I just was in such a panic, didn't know what to do, who to talk to, what to say. So I remember waiting again. Obviously my family showed up, my partner showed up. All I can remember is just being in floods of tears, just thinking to myself, like, this can't be happening. Then they call you back in and they do your blood pressure, your temperature, check your weight, I think, as well. And then they give you what they call medical treatment. I think it is medical treatment. And then you take the first pill. And then they send you home. That's when the bleeding starts. And I remember being at my mum's house, obviously, because I couldn't go back to my friend's house because of the situation. I wanted to be at my mum's. I wanted her to be close. And just the bleeding just started from probably about 2.5 hours after I got home. Got taken back to the hospital that day. Obviously told the triage nurse what had happened, and I remember sitting in a chair and her doing my blood pressure, and them saying to me, you might have to stay, you might have to stay, you might have to stay. And you can just see my heart rate on the monitor just I can't even explain it to you. It was just out of this world. In the end, I calmed myself down because I didn't want to stay, and was sent back home with my mum. I was then told that with the second pill, I would have to stay in hospital, but my partner could stay with me. So I went in on the Friday, took the second pill, had my own room. And the worst thing about it is every time I was going to the loo, they kept checking. And I kept checking and to see if the baby had come out. And it was horrific. It's not something... You've just been told that, and then you've got people checking your wee, and it's awful. It is an awful, awful situation to be in. I was in hospital for 2 days, and my partner was my rock. My siblings, my sibling came in to see me. People were calling, texting, but all I wanted to do was go home and be by myself. I didn't want to be in hospital with people around me and keep checking me, and it was disgusting. It was so invasive as well. You can't mentally prepare, you can't mentally go through what's happened, because your body's physically going through something that's not every day. It's not normal. So I got sent home after 2 days, and then you have to go back 2 weeks later for a scan to make sure that there's no what they call debris inside your womb. So I went back for the scan to be told that the baby was still there, but how can I put this? It was there, but it wasn't full. So I don't want to put anyone in a really gross situation, but basically it started to disintegrate, but it hadn't come away from and come out. Again, I'm still in this torment of, I'm trying to think mentally what's happened and get myself through it mentally, but physically I need to think about that as well. So the only other option was surgery, and I had to go through that. Again, just to know that that was kind of like the finale of it. You know, it's done, it's finished. There is nothing there now, even though obviously the baby had passed and there was no heartbeat. That was the finale. That was closure is the wrong word, but it kind of was, because then I could focus mentally, what I needed to do mentally to get through this. So that was horrific. Till to this stage, you know, I found out I'd lost a baby on the 4th of September 2012. We're on the 12th of January 2020, and I still think about it, and he's still a very deep scar. I went through a hell of a lot then. It was, I can't even describe it to you. The only advice I would give anyone that's had a miscarriage or an infant loss is take time for yourself. Figure out what you need to do to be able to get through it. Tell people what you need. What I did was I just jumped straight back into work. I don't know if it was the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do. I still don't know that to this day. Maybe I could have handled certain situations then a bit better, but mentally, obviously, I wasn't my usual self mentally. Physically, hormones and everything were just up the wall. I deal with it now by this. This is my tattoo, which represents that baby that didn't make it. I also go to the cemetery and lay flowers on the 4th of September every year, and then the 19th of April every year, because the 19th of April would have been the due date. I never forget. You never forget. There's not one day that it doesn't cross your mind that that's a baby that you had carried, whether it be for a week, a month, 5 months, 6 months, full term. It's still a part of you. I just want everyone to know that if this has happened to you, the best thing that you can do is just take time for yourself. Do what you feel you need to do. That's the thing. I felt like I needed to go back to work. I needed to get back into a routine. I needed normality. That's not going to work for everybody. It's a very sad thing to have to go through. Very sad. If you want to talk about your experiences, please message me. Obviously, my baby was 9 weeks and 4 days into the pregnancy. Some people are miscarrying a lot further on than that. Just know that I'm here to talk. If you need an ear, if you want a little bit of guidance, if you just want to get stuff off your chest, I'm here. This isn't all my videos are going to be quite sad, and you know, we're talking about mental health here, so they're not going to be lively. They're not, but this video is probably the saddest one I've done yet. So keep watching, keep liking, keep subscribing. I want to share all my experiences with you guys. If I do it, then hopefully you will too, and then you can get some help, or you can feel a little bit lighter in yourself because you've got it off your chest. I just want to let everyone know I'm here. This is what this is for. It's a very difficult subject to talk about. If you don't want to talk about it, the only other thing I can say is probably write your feelings down on a bit of paper, just to get them off your head a little bit, just to relieve some of the pressure that's going on in your brain. Thank you for watching. Take care. Keep liking, subscribing. My Facebook page is still there, which is doing really well. So this will go up on Facebook as well. Love you all.